I never in my wildest dreams imagined anything about the life that I have right now or business. Hey, this is Angela, CEO of Hot Mess Consulting, and today is a little bit of a special episode. We turned 3 today as a business, and so I just wanted to take a minute and share my story because I think there are some juicy lessons in there. And the lessons are laid out more specifically in the blog. I just wanted to be right here with you guys as I'm sharing this story. So, but do check out the blog too. So, okay. First of all, let me say that I never in my wildest dreams imagined um, anything about the life that I have right now or business, truly. And not to go to spend too much time on past, but I was, born to a single teenage mother. My dad was just absent. He's a drug addict. Um, and so I didn't necessarily have things super easy. I dealt with all kinds, I had the eating disorders as a teenager and got into drugs even a little bit, and promiscuity, to be honest. Like, I went through a lot. But I've always been, though, despite my past challenges, I've always been a really, really big dreamer. I've always known that I wanted to own my own business. I had ideas when I was really little, the palm reading stands, lemonade stands, things like that. The boutique was originally an idea when I was 19. I had thrown up like a Zen cart site, which is much more complicated than websites are these days. Even to get something really, really basic up that's ugly as well, it was like required coding development. So that was kind of fun. But anyway, so fast forward through, I had put myself through college, so I have a degree in human development. Which psychology comes in handy in life and in business. So no regrets there at all. And, I'd been through a few different careers and I got to this point in my life where I definitely was not satisfied. I had stopped I had stopped dreaming my dreams. And had just kind of settled into this life that was not lighting me up in any way, shape, or form. And along the same line, or not surprisingly, maybe I should say, I was also dealing with this really major health issue. It's called a desmoid tumor. It's really complicated and it's a whole nother story for another day. But, I'll just say that at the end of it, I ended up, due to an experimental procedure, I ended up with this super serious infection. And during recovery, I was at home, nearly bedbound on these really, really nauseating drip antibiotics that I had to administer myself. It was like every 3 or 4 hours, even when I was supposed to be sleeping. So I had to wake myself up to give myself this stuff that made me feel like, oh man, total garbage. So what happened during this time in my life is I don't know, I had this realization that I didn't have forever to make my dreams come true, because what happened is that I was sitting there, like thinking like, oh my God, when am I going to just feel better? When am I going to be able to go to Costco or the beach or anything, right? But then there was this even bigger fear in the back of my head saying, but wait a minute, what if you get better? I mean, you're going to get better only to go back to living the life that you weren't happy with. That was more scary to me. And that's when I realized like I needed to make a change. So I did, I decided that this time in my life was going to mean something and catapult me into what was really meant for me. So I made a lot of more bold decisions in my life. And, one of them was starting my first business, the boutique, and I'll tell you, like, the boutique was not easy. It was really hard. I was learning something new every single day. Everything that could go wrong, did go wrong. I thought that I was going to be selling at events and pop-ups at customers' houses only, and then really quickly realized I had to ship out, you know, um, like sell online and ship out too. And I was still doing events as well, though. So it was about 50% online, 50% events. And these events, like, I mean, some of them were just a really big investment, for me at that time anyway. It was hundreds of dollars just to be at a booth. And then it was, extra inventory, extra props, and things like that for the event. And then, maybe the travel, if it was an out of town multi-day event, like whatever it was, like there were definitely events where I had to just turn around and cry because we weren't bringing in any revenue or hardly any compared to what I had just put out. And the hard work, I might have taken a full day off of my day job. Because obviously after the health issue, I recovered enough to go back to the day job. So then I was doing both at the same time, which I know a lot of business owners can relate to. And that was really, really hard. Not just the exhaustion of it, but also the feeling like I was living like a double life, basically. Like I was going into and this isn't the case for everybody. Some people work both and they like their day job, and that's great, but I was living that double life where I was like feeling like just having to act like I gave a single, about my job there, when I really didn't. My heart was somewhere else. So, it wasn't very long really before I just realized that I needed to go all in with my business, no matter what I was bringing in or wasn't bringing in. And I was bringing in thousands, but I didn't actually know at that time whether I was even profitable or not, to be honest. Like I was just like, oh, well, thousands are coming in. I'll be fine, right? So I gave my job 30 days notice. I even got cold feet near the end and almost backed out and tried to get another few months, but I came to my senses and realized I was just scared, and I just went for it. So I left, and it was me and the boutique, and I had to make it work because I did have bills to pay. So it was at that time that I had to really dig into my business and look at all of the numbers that I didn't want to look at before. And just make some changes as to how I was doing things. So I figured out what was working and what wasn't working, and I tripled down on what was working and cut out the crap as far as anything that wasn't working or any expenses that weren't worth it, and figured it out. And so at that time I had like my highest few months of revenue and profit. And that's something else to think about, is that you could be bringing in a ton of revenue, but what is your actual profit? Because that's really what matters at the end of the day. Are you able to pay yourself? Are you able to pay your team? Things like that. So I had just gotten to the point where I kind of had my boutique figured out, right? It was working for me. It was paying enough to pay my bills, and I was going to keep going. But something crazy happened right then. And it seems so random, but I don't know. I think things happen for a reason. That's what I believe. So I had my boutique photographer, right? And up until then, I had been paying her in clothing. Well, I wanted to offer her a little bit more. So I offered to design a website and a logo for her because she didn't have those. She was a newer business owner as well. So I designed these for her and some marketing materials and things like that. And for some reason, after doing that, which I really enjoyed doing, by the way, and I've always loved working on that stuff in my own boutique as well, which is why I thought to help her with that. But so after that, I just somehow like happened to notice all this need around me for help with those same things. And so like I had this boutique bestie who I, offered like a free website makeover to kind of give that a try. And then she referred a friend to me that paid me $150. So that was my first paying client, $150 to set up my first full Shopify website. And that client was definitely super sweet, but it was a lot of work for $150. And I didn't know at that time, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But I learned, I learned really quickly after, that client, and then, especially the next few, that there's just a lot more than you realize that goes, into helping somebody with these sorts of things. And on top of that, it wasn't just about, servicing them the best, but also like there was so much more to website design than I even realized before. Like when I first started and my rates, even as they were creeping up, to $495, $995, $1695, I was learning more and more and more what was actually really important about websites in a business, because originally I was really only offering a coat of lipstick, to be honest. It was very aesthetic, it was very surface level. And as time went on, I learned what really matters. And it's really the smallest details that can have a really big impact. Because the thing is that your website should obviously serve to increase the revenue in your business, assuming you're driving enough traffic to it, right? So those have to go hand in hand. But if you're driving massive amounts of traffic to your website, the smallest increase in conversion, meaning the smallest increase in that percentage of the people that visit your site that actually buy, can really make a huge difference in terms of your revenue. That is really what good web design is all about. Things that are going to optimize your website to increase that percentage of people that actually purchase. And again, there's just so many details behind that. The other useful thing about a website could and should be, if there's any way that this website can make things easier for you in your business or your team, for you and your team, is there a pain point? I mean, just one example, just to throw it out there, is like, if you're really struggling with returns and that time that it takes to talk with those people about the return, qualify them, get their send them the instructions in order to do the return, all of that, like a good website can take all of that off the table, so you don't even have to think about it at all. There's, between apps or just having an advanced return form, they can literally self-qualify whether they're even eligible for a return, and then get an email labeled right to them. So, that's just one small example of a purpose that your website really should serve. It should make your business and your life easier, and it should bring in more revenue. And I didn't learn all of this alone. I mean, we've grown from basically a team of 3 to a team of 18, like over the last year and a half alone. And we've helped over 1,000 clients, which is really unheard of in this industry. So it's not just me anymore, because I certainly could not do this alone. So, we've got the project managers, the skilled graphic designers, branding strategists, the coding developers, copywriters. We really dig in deep to every little nook and cranny of your website. There's no stone that we leave unturned, and we help with all aspects too. So, the hot mess of today is certainly a far cry from that $150 website that I offered my very first paying client back in the day. But yeah, I mean, it's been a really wild adventure. I'm so thankful, to everybody that's supported me in any way, all of my clients, customers of the boutique, my team. Because yeah, again, like I said, a CEO can only wear all the hats for so long before it really does stunt your business, and the quality of the products or services that you're providing as well, which is a really big deal, right? So this year, we are actually on track to hit our first 7-figure year, our first $1 million year as a business. And I want to share that because I also want to share that things are still challenging. It's not any easier than it was when I was like crying myself to sleep in the early days, chatting with my partner about, was I going to be able to figure this out? It's just as challenging. But the challenges and the struggles are just different. In fact, they're even more intense now because I have a team, that depends on our business. I have clients that have invested a chunk of change with us that we need to really make an impact in their business. And so all of these things come into play. So whatever type of business that you're in, like those it's always going to be hard, but it's, continuing on anyway, always optimizing. So, one of the things that's so hard about right now is, particularly like right now, what we're going through is that we're really digging in deep to revamp so many things about our business, the way that we, our process with our clients, the process in which we manage those processes, even on the sales and marketing side, who is our ideal client? What do they really need? How do we speak to them, but also how do we really take care of them throughout everything, and how do we make sure that we really only book those clients that are truly going to benefit from our services and like it's the right thing for their business, right? So we're really digging in deep on revamping all of these things about our business. And it is not easy. It's not easy for me. It's not easy for my team. But I mean, it is going to be worth it. But it's just a lot of hard work, and that's just never going to go away. So you just, don't give up, especially don't give up before the good stuff. I mean, what if back in the day when I was crying over all of this money that I was spending on events that I wasn't bringing in the revenue, and was I going to make it? Was I good enough? Was I capable of figuring all of this out? What if I had given up? Right? And then also the just that thought to always be optimizing your business, because wherever you are right now and wherever your goals are, because your goals certainly do not need to be to get to where I am in business, or to have a business that looks a certain way, or but whatever your goals are, like, just make sure that you're always making improvements in your business in order to get there. You're always moving in the right direction. I feel like there's so much more I could say and share, but I think that's good for today. So, anyway, again, I hope I inspired even just one person with my story. If I did, mission accomplished. And yeah, I hope that you guys all have a great day or evening, whatever's going on for you. And never be a stranger. I started this business to inspire other women, particularly, although I don't mind inspiring men too, but to chase their dreams. And that is still my mission and my purpose today. So keep going. Keep putting in the hard work. Need more? Check out the blog at hotmessblog.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel too. Cheers!